Hey guys, I've had a request in the comments to do a bit more on puzzles. Puzzles really are one of the very best ways that you can improve your chess, and to do it quickly as well. So what I thought we would do is do a bit of a kind of a climbing the rating ladder using puzzles. And you can do this very easily yourself. So when you go into puzzles on chess.com, which is where I am now, okay, so you can do puzzles here, and this is your rated puzzles, right? It will give you a puzzle that's roughly around where you're supposed to be. You've got Puzzle Rush, Puzzle Battle against another player. Puzzle Rush is like against the clock. I don't recommend that for beginners at all. The whole point about puzzles is that you're supposed to solve the puzzle and take the time that you need to solve the puzzle. You are training your brain to be better at chess, not just quicker at chess. Puzzle Rush, fine if you're an intermediate or advanced player if you want to, but I don't do it. Okay, or you can go into custom. Custom is where you just browse puzzles, and it's not rated. Okay, so what I thought we'll do, so here you can select from your from all the different kind of categories and themes of puzzles, and you can also set your rating range. You can do puzzles that you failed to solve before. So what I thought we'd do is just set it to 0 to 250, and I'll do, say, 10 minutes on some basic puzzles, and then I'll do a new video on each 250 band rating band. Okay, so the point of puzzles is that you are learning to read the board, and this is a skill that the goal is that you bring this into every position in every game that you play. You bring that mentality of looking at the entire board, reading what the board says, what's possible, what the threats are, opportunities, all that kind of thing, okay? And you are developing that skill. You want to hardwire it so that every position you look at, you can see through your own prejudices and preconceptions and ideas that you've been working on. You can look at, what does my opponent just do? What are the threats? So that you don't get into positions where, for example, you just get checkmated out of the blue and you go, oh no, I just got checkmated. Well, okay. Anyway, so we'll start with this. There's no particular theme to this. And the goal of the puzzles, this is really important, is you should be able to, and it's not just in one move either. Sometimes it's in one move, sometimes it's a sequence of forced moves, okay? There is a way in every puzzle where you can either save a lost position or win outright with checkmate, or gain a winning position, right? For example, winning your opponent's queen, or going significantly up in material, or gaining a winning endgame position, for example. So here, to me, it's pretty obvious there is a one move checkmate, okay? And that is the solution to the puzzle. If you get checkmate, right? So queen f2 here, the king has no squares, should be checkmate, and the game is won, and that's it, over, okay? And that rating was 111, so pretty much everybody should be able to get that. Okay, now, my opponent has just played queen takes bishop here. Now, okay, so first of all, I'll look at material. Got 6 pawns, 6 pawns. My opponent has 2 bishops to my 1, so I'm a bishop down. Now, this is interesting. So the threat is obviously, if their queen takes my queen, if I recapture with a rook, bishop takes there. So that isn't good. Right, so I want to, for example, I need to save my queen. That's the first thing that I see. So what I'm looking at is like queen d4 here. Get out of trouble. The queen can't come here or here to make my king. That's not a threat, okay? There is maybe a threat of this, and then checkmate. But if I can get him first, like queen d4 threatens queen takes g7. Okay, now, and the point is, it will let you, for example, play the first move, and it will tell you whether that's the right or wrong path to be on. But it's much better. You don't get to do that in your chess games, right? Imagine yourself in a tournament over the board. You can't even touch the piece, right? So, unless you're going to move it. So, Queen d4, I'm threatening mate in 1. Okay, and how does my opponent stop that? Well, queen back to here is a possibility, but then I can exchange queens, win a pawn, possibly even win this bishop as well, right? Now, so another idea that my opponent could play is that, but then I win the bishop outright. So that is, oh no, apparently not. Let's try again. Wow, and this is a 100 to 250, and it's got me confused. Okay, I mean, I could take the queen. That is kind of forced. But I don't see a winning position in this. Rook takes. Ah, that wins material. There we go. That's it, because then rook was threatening to take there. Okay, well, puzzle rating 100. Well, maybe I'm not on top form today. Okay, here's another one. Well, surely rook here is checkmate. I don't think that was a 100 rated puzzle. Checkmate, and now I'm double checking. Yes, looks fine. Okay. Now, endgame. So this is interesting. So I'm playing white. So you're always the one playing up the board. Okay, so look at where the numbers are. Now my opponent can now get a queen. Okay, by removing this pawn, and it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns. Okay, now I could get a queen by, for example, now I'm not going to do this, 1, then move out the way, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now that means that my opponent gets a queen first. Okay, however, I've also got Freddie here, who's only four jumps away. Now, if I go Freddie, there, queen, right? And he can't now move to this square because I've got a queen. So actually, I think the solution here is just to run up with Freddie, because also my opponent also has, if I go 1, 2, and Freddie gone, right? 3, 4, hang on, let's do this. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. I don't know. It might still be possible, even if he tries to take out both pawns. But I think that's simply the correct move. Yeah. So it's, I mean, that's just literally fingers and thumbs and toes if you need them. Okay, let's do a few more. Okay, so now I am the player with the black pieces. My opponent has just captured a rook. And some people in this instance might go, oh no, my rook, I'm down to material. I'm going to resign. All right. We've all done it. Well, I have. Even when you've got mate in 1. There you go. Simple back rank mate. And this is the pattern. You know, the king can only move sideways because he's got a pawn. It's the F pawn in particular, right? F pawn, G pawn, H pawn, all at home. King cannot move forwards. King can only move sideways. Check that king, and you're good. All right. So, this is interesting. This is another end game scenario. Right, I have 4 pawns here. My opponent has 4 pawns that are fragmented. My first thought is bishop e4 check. The king can't go there, and can't go there, and can't go there. So the king will be forced back, but the king is the only defender of that bishop. Okay, so here, wins the bishop, and I will go on to win the game. Good. So it's about just developing that practice of reading the board. Okay, so we have We're down an exchange here because my opponent has 2 rooks and a minor. I have 1 rook and 2 minors, but I have the bishop pair. So that's not too bad. So first things I'm looking at is checks. And there's a check there and there's a check there. Now if I play check here, the king can't go there and can't go there. Does have pushed pawn to g5. But also the knight is simply hanging. Do I just take the knight? Take the knight and then push that pawn. The bishop here could even be checkmate. Take the knight. Oh, that's it. So sometimes it's that simple, right? It's a matter of reading the board. You see how I was starting to look at counting material and it's not hanging piece. It's just a hanging piece, right? There you go, theme, hanging piece, yes, absolutely. So I've just agreed to that one. Interesting. Now, there is a stalemate issue as well that you have to be aware of. Now, if this pawn wasn't there, and if this pawn didn't have 1 square to move forward, this would be stalemate. Oh no, because he's got this one as well. That's all right. But let's say these pawns weren't there and all his pawns were blocked off, that would be stalemate. Now, I can move this because he's got pawns that can move. He can't move that one because I literally take and romp home. If he moves this one, I take, he takes, I take and romp home. Either way, this is fine, okay? So now actually his king can't move, right? Which is the stalemate risk. So he has to move one of these. So let's say he moves this one. I take, he takes, I take. His king still can't move and my pawn just dances back, yeah? So what we've basically done is trapped his king, his most powerful piece, and guaranteed a win. Okay, interesting. Now, I think this is also a mate in 1 scenario, right? So checkmates is the first thing that you should think about. Do I have a checkmate? And that is incredibly useful in your game. Also being able to spot, does my opponent have a checkmate, right? Because you can be well up in material, or you think that you've got a huge advantage in a game, but if there is a losing move, bang, it can happen. We've seen it. Okay, so I think it's just queen takes there, because the knight can't block in any way. Mate in 1. There you go. Let's do another one. Okay, my first thought is this, which again I think is checkmate, because the queen's guarding these squares, and actually the bishop is guarding that one, and there's no way to block. So checkmate, mate in 1. Right, let's do a couple more. Oh no, my rook. Right, bishop's looking at that, queen's looking at that, king has nowhere to go. Mate in 1. Yes, it is mate in 1. Okay, and last one. Oh no, my queen. Right, however, this is actually mate in 2, I think. Recapture, that's check. And look, the king has no other squares. Checkmate. There you go. So there you go, that's your 0 to 250. Puzzle number 2 definitely had me scratching my head. I was kind of overthinking it to a degree, I think. So, yeah, I mean, basically, if you are not an absolute beginner at chess, you should be able to figure all of those out. So I would really encourage you, whatever level you're at, to spend at least 10 minutes a day just on puzzles, right? And I think this is the way to do it, right? Don't worry about puzzle ratings, stuff like that. It's not a big issue. Obviously, do it if it will bring you joy, okay? But otherwise, just go into custom, set a rating range, leave them all on, and just practice getting dropped into a game in a random position and finding the right answer, because that's what puzzles are about. You find the solution in all cases, and they're right. And that's it. So I will see you on the other side, and we'll do 250 up to 500. See you then.